Um, yeah, overall, I said after the game I was very interested in seeing if the effort was, in fact, the way I thought it was. On the field, when we look at tape, and for the most part, I thought that it did marry up with what I thought it was going to look like. I thought that the guys played very hard. Obviously, I said it before. We went up there for one reason and one reason only, and that was to win the football game. We didn't do that, so obviously we're disappointed about that. But there are a lot of positives about the game moving forward. Both offensively and defensively and special teams. So very encouraged about that, and very encouraged about where this football team is after these first 3 weeks of the season. We knew these would be a tough 3 weeks, but I am very encouraged about where we're at as a team and mentally and physically where we're at as a football team. And now during this non-game week, we'll take an opportunity to heal some bumps and bruises, to heal some legs and try to get some legs back fresh, to heal some, I guess, some mental freshness by the guys and the coaching staff, get some recruiting done at the latter part of the week, so that when we come back and we get into what now is our new season next week when we go into conference play, we're fresh and we're ready for it, and obviously we're excited about the opportunity to do that.
What are some positives that maybe you did see on film that maybe you didn't see while the game was going on? Is there anything that jumped out?
Well, I think, obviously, I mean, I'll just start on all three phases. Offensively, we didn't give up any sacks, which is a huge positive. I mean, you're talking that number 41. He's one of the top-rated outside linebackers in the NFL draft coming up. I mean, that dude's you'll see him. You'll see him. On the NFL draft day, you'll see him. And for us to come out of that without any sacks and really and truly not a whole lot of pressure on the quarterback, I was phenomenally encouraged by that. We averaged 5 yards a carry in the rushing game. Just the way that we played, we had a very physical nature to us, and I was very encouraged about that. Defensively, I thought the same thing. I thought we had a very physical nature to us. I thought our corners held up very well in the passing game. I thought that they held up very well. They actually welcomed a little bit more man coverage than we planned on putting them in, but they felt good about it, and we weren't giving up a lot of big plays. And I think that's the biggest thing defensively, is we didn't give up a lot of big shots and big plays. We made them earn it on the ground game, which obviously we knew that was going to be tough. Now, I mean, I know statistically speaking, they ran the ball for, I think, like 245 yards. That's not great, but I mean, I'll say it again. I think Benny Snell is one of the premier backs in the country. I think that you're going to hear his name a bunch as well. He's just a very electric guy. I did think for the most part, we had a couple of timely penalties too that hurt us, and that's something defensively we've got to get better at. The horse collar penalty that really that wound up being a big-time long drive. Not only was it a touchdown drive, but it was a long drive after that, and we stayed on the field for quite a while. And I think there was another offside penalty that we had that kind of hurt us in some timely periods of the game. And then special teams wise, I thought we did phenomenally well. The one kickoff that we had, the problem with special teams right now is we don't have enough punt returns. We have too many punts. We don't have enough kickoffs, and we have too many kickoff returns. And once we get the scales flipped a little bit more in our favor, then we'll be doing a little bit better. But the one kickoff that we had, I thought, we had a really, really good effort on it. When you watch us cover the ball, we had some guys flying down the field. Our two on the field, Pig Turner, he almost made they call it a shark bite tackle. He goes down there, has a chance to just knock out the returner. I mean, he does, and he misses, but it's the same thing I've been saying. He went with relentless effort. There was no caution in his body. He was either going to make that play or scare that kid to death trying, and he did that. And then we had very good effort from Caddis and Devon Witt and some other guys, and even Gabe. If you watch that play, you'll see Gabe. He jumps over the top after kicking the ball. He jumps over the top and does a cartwheel, and I mean, he was flying around, so that's good to see. We did a nice job on our punt team, obviously, just in protection, as well as, Steve Dawson, he saves the snap over the head. And so just, overall, a ton of positives and a ton of effort clips that we can show. I think I've got about 8 extreme effort clips that I'm going to show the team today And our big message to the team today will be, when you go into a game like that and you're playing an SEC opponent or you're playing an FBS opponent, there is they won't admit it to you, and they'll probably be mad when I say it today in a team meeting, but there's a certain level of fear that you play with, because going into that game, if you don't play at that fanatical effort and you don't do your technique just right, not only do you have a chance to get beat, you got a chance to get embarrassed against a team like that. So you go with this this hard edge about you, right? And this hard urgency about you. The trick to us and what we've got to do is play the same way that we did on Saturday the next 8 weeks. The remainder of our schedule, we have to keep that same hard edge about us and play the same way, play with the same physicality and the same effort level. And if we'll do that, we'll be a really, really exciting football team.
Obviously, a season is full of adjustments. How much of your offense and your offensive coordinator's offense have we seen in these first 3 weeks? Have we seen the full playbook?
No, not much at all. I mean, we've got a new quarterback that we've been trying to figure out with Drew, and still trying to figure out what makes him tick, what he doesn't like, what he does like. We've got some personnel at the skill positions. You saw Armani Hayes, the freshman, made some plays. You saw a little bit of Honeycutt, who made some plays for us. And Honeycutt was a late addition coming into fall camp. Didn't get a lot of practice time, so he's only about 4 weeks into it. Grand total, about 4 weeks into it. So we've still got some tricks up our sleeves and some things that we'll do and some personnel adjustments. I do think right now the one what am I trying to say? The one kind of standard that we have right now is our front five are playing extremely well. Our front five up front, they're playing extremely well. We do have Austin Jones that we can add back into the mix now. He's been out with a foot injury, played a little bit at the latter part of the game at the University of Kentucky this past week. But it's going to be hard for him to get into that mix, though, and that's what's so good about it is it's not just going to be a shoe-in. He can't just come back and regain his spot. I mean, it'll be something that he has to earn back because those front five are playing very, very well right now.
How'd you come out of the game as far as injuries?
I still don't know. Yesterday we were pretty. The injury report was pretty long. This week of practice will not look great when people come and watch us practice. It will not look great. We'll get about 60 minutes of work in. Our original plan was to practice today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. We will not practice today. We will get some work in Tuesday and Wednesday, but it'll be pretty light. I don't think we have anything major. I think there's only about 1 or 2 guys that could be season-ending or weeks before they return, but for the most part, I think we'll be okay once we get them out of this week.
I've had fans suggest to me that there's a greater risk of injury when you play up like you did against Kentucky. Do you think that's the case, or is it just one game to the next?
I don't know. I mean, it's any way you shake it, it doesn't matter who you play. It's a pretty physical sport. You're running around and you're purposely smacking your body into another person's. So it's a pretty physical sport. Obviously when you play at that level, you're playing top-tier talent. I mean, when I was standing on the sideline before the game and I saw number 41 walk by me, I think I said out loud, "Good Lord, I hope the rest of their team doesn't look like that," because they're a pretty impressive bunch. But I think for the most part, we held our own. I think that the injuries just come from playing hard, playing with fanatical effort. Again, I think that if you're a physical football team, you're going to have some bumps and bruises, and that's the reason why I say our injury report. I don't really know right now because I fully expected us to be a little beat up, after 3 weeks, and that's just kind of the way it goes. So, I don't know if it has something to do with playing up or playing down or playing your level. I have a feeling after next week against UT Martin, that'll be a physical game, and we'll probably have some of the same issues that we have to figure out how to work with the next week in practice.
When did Mont Speeders get his eligibility issues worked out?
11 o'clock Friday morning. So 11 o'clock Friday morning. He was going to travel with us either way, but I got a text message on my phone. We came back in from the walkthrough Friday. I had a text message on my phone that said that he was good to go.
Guys like Benny Snell, Josh Allen, these guys that you've talked about that are probably NFL caliber and they've got a future in the NFL.
Yeah.
Racers every year seem to have 1 or 2, 3 sometimes that are NFL caliber. Who are some of the guys on your roster right now that maybe NFL scouts have come by and inquired about and looked at?
We've got a few. We've got a few. I'm not going to say their name right now because I don't want them to get the big head. I don't want them to know about it. But we've got some guys. I've got a scout in the building right now that's watching some tape, and obviously there's 2 or 3 guys that they wanted to see play against a top tier talent like UK. And I think they're supposed to watch 4 games of you. That's what a scout is supposed to do. They're supposed to watch a minimum of 4 games. But all of them told me the same thing. They said, look, we're going to focus on the UK game. We want to see them play against UK. And for the most part, the good thing is the ones that they're asking about played extremely well against the top talent they're going to face this year. So they did well for themselves.
You talk about that 4 games and want to relay that to like a redshirt rule. Where do you draw the line with a guy like Armani Hayes who did so well against UK but is probably teetering with that? Do we play a couple more games or do we let him play the rest of the year because he is so effective?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that's what every coaching staff in America is kind of forced to deal with right now. I think that the way we're handling it is that line is drawn in pencil, so it can be erased at any time. And that's kind of the way that we're doing it every Sunday. When we come back in, we do a participation list, and out beside that participation list, just a roster. Hey, did this guy play? Yes. Did this guy play? Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. And out beside every name, there's going to be a number, and that's going to correlate to how many games that guy's played, so that we know. Some of those guys who are 4-game guys, or some of those guys who are on that line that we've drawn in pencil and not pen, we'll make that evaluation, or we'll make that decision when we get to that point, whether or not we need to shut him down or keep playing him. I do think that Armani Hayes' line has been erased right now, unless something crazy happens. His line has pretty much been erased, and he does not want to. He does not want a red shirt. We joke with him about it. Coach Suber joked with him last week, said, hey, man, you're getting up on that 3rd week. Now you ain't got but 1 more to go. And he's like, no, Coach, we ain't talking like that. So he's one that does not want to red shirt.
Don't want to put the cart before the horse, but we talked to Preston, before you came in here. Seems like a guy on that drive that's got a pretty bright future ahead of him here at Murray State for next season. What do you say as a coaching staff when you see something like that and know that he's got the capability sooner rather than later?
It didn't shock me at all. It didn't shock the team at all. The thing that Preston has going for him right now, okay, because Preston's a guy, and this has been his evaluation this year, and he knows this. Even if he were sitting beside me, he would know what I'm about to say. Preston is a volatile player, okay, because he's going to make some plays like he did the other day, and you're going to sit there and go, wow, how did he do that? And then he'll have a couple of plays at practice where you're like, wow, how did he do that? That was so dumb, But the great thing about Preston, what he's got right now is and one of my defensive coaches said it best. He said, normally I can't tell when we're on the sideline. I can't tell when there's a personnel change. Like when y'all put somebody in, you take somebody out. Like we can't tell that. It's not like there's a different feel. He said the last drive when Preston went in, I knew something was different. I knew something had changed because our guys were not listening to a word we were saying. They weren't even sitting. They were going to watch and see Preston. They wanted to see what he was going to do, just because he has earned a certain level of respect because of the selflessness that he plays with. Okay, this is a dude who makes his money, so to speak, with that right arm, and he's back there as a punch shield guy, making all the calls and smacking people in the face with that arm, and literally being a shield to block people, and had 2 phenomenal effort plays on punt the other night. If you let him, or if you needed him to play linebacker, he would go play it with a smile on his face. Whatever you need him to do, he's going to do it. And he welcomes competition. He has always welcomed competition, and the thing that's unique about Preston is even when he goes and plays the University of Kentucky now, in his mind, he's the best one on the field. He is the best one on the field. He just knows that and believes that about himself. So I've said it before, and I've got no problem saying it with him or any of the other quarterbacks in the room. I've said it for quite some time now. Yes, you were right. That dude has a really, really bright future ahead of him. And the biggest thing and the biggest reason for that is because he earns that respect every day at practice with the way he goes about his job and the way he goes about the competition at that battle, and the way he competes and practices and plays.